Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of season 2 of Table Flippin' Games. This new season, we're doing things a little bit differently. We're playing Arkham Horror, the card game, and we're delving deeper into it for more than just one play. This episode, we're taking a little bit of a special break. This is a very special episode of Table Flippin' Board Games, where we will be sort of building our characters, and how you do that in this game is by constructing your deck. It is a living card game, so it's different than a collectible card game, so you don't have to, go out and buy 500 booster packs just to get those favorite cards. Every booster pack you buy comes with all the cards, so it's more about a mental, tactical deck building experience. And in the case of this game in particular, it's got a really cool character element too. You're going to have awesome strengths, but then also some weaknesses, things that will really define what kind of character you want to be. Before we get started on that, just as a reminder, if you do miss any episodes, we do have the VODs on YouTube every Monday. Usually part 1 is up at 11:30 and part 2 is at 12, unless there's technical difficulties, but we apologize for that. I think we had a little bit of that last week, but everything's fixed now. It's great. That's the usual schedule. And once again, just a little plug really quickly. We are part of the Misscliks channel. They're a fantastic organization who's working to promote equality and female empowerment in gaming. They have a great lineup of highly thematic and thrilling content like streaming Dungeons & Dragons sessions and Let's Plays. Basically, I think what we started with was we were going to do a quick recap of what's happened in the campaign so far. And then talk a little bit, but before that, just as a reminder, there is a little bit of a spoiler alert. Some of the things that you would see in the first core set campaign, we are going to be revealing some of those stories, but as you saw at the end of the last episode, we did take a diverging path, or we did have a choice between two paths, which was either to burn down Daisy's house or not, and we sadly chose to burn it down. Yeah.
Burn it down!
Yeah. But that's good though, because Deb knows the streets. Her character knows the streets, so she'll fit right in with Deb. They'll kind of live in the same underpass.
But didn't I lose the sanity? It was
it was
watching
traumatic.
my house burn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad because it was traumatic. But we don't know what would have happened if we had left it standing. There might have been a benefit, or something equally bad might have happened in place of that. Trauma.
At least Joe didn't blow us up, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you would have taken a permanent health damage.
Yeah.
It would have been necessary, but
Yeah, exactly.
So necessary. Yes, we need those panic baskets in chat. R.I.P. house.
So, Joe, what's been going on so far in the campaign? What's the story that we're kind of facing?
well, as far as the overall campaign, we don't know a lot. I think about the only description we gave is our little town of Arkham, Massachusetts, here in the 1920s Prohibition era.
Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Roaring 20s, going a bit crazy. What used to be a quiet town is kind of getting to a boiling point. People are, I think, getting really angry over small things, fighting with each other. And there's been some bodies found. And so because of it, I think the 4 investigators sense something's going on. And so the first quest or scenario within that campaign was called The Gathering.
Uh-huh.
And we basically just decided we need to gather at the lead investigator's house to try and start figuring out what's going on with the town. So let me think, without getting into every turn detail, we started in the study and things just started going crazy. The door disappeared. We had to investigate our way out of it by finding it under the rug. We jumped out.
It's always the last place you look.
Yeah.
Right. We jumped in the hallway and found we can go to the attic, cellar, or parlor, but we really couldn't go to the parlor. There was a barrier. And so by investigating the other 2, we eventually broke into the parlor. And all during this time, ghouls were coming up out of the floor. And eventually we found a ghoul priest boss in the parlor, knocked him out, although it wasn't by dynamite, which it should have been.
That would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah, and that was it. I don't think we learned anything more than ghouls were kind of taking over Al's house. And so
We found somebody.
Yeah, we got a new ally.
That's right.
Laura
We found an
Croft.
ally. Yes.
Yeah, she's not tomb raiding now anymore.
I don't actually remember her name because we called her Laura Croft.
Lita Chandler.
Lita, right.
Right.
She actually put the barrier up, and was trying to prevent the ghouls from escaping the house into the streets, and we ruined that.
Right.
And so to appease her a little bit, she offered us a choice. Well, she didn't offer us a choice. She told us to burn it down, but we chose to go along with that even though we didn't have to.
Well, we can still do the cool action hero walk away from the burning pile of rubble thing without blowing up the house. So it's a win-win, really.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think we learned anything more, right, about the overall...
Yeah, I think that was it. I think you got everything.
Okay.
We learned not to trust Nikki's taste in real estate.
That's true.
Yep.
Bad area of town.
Yeah. Sounds like all of Arkham's having some problems with housing, though.
That's
true.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe not just me.
Oh, but Nikki, I think, as a consequence, she received a mental trauma from losing her house, which means her sanity is at a permanent -1. So every quest from here on out we start, she's one less sanity, which kind of sucks.
Is there a token for that to remember it, or you just have to keep track of it?
Yeah, we'll have to keep track of it in the notes somewhere. We'll probably have to open the notebook and keep track. There is a campaign sheet that comes with every quest. I don't have it in front of me, but every campaign has a quest sheet you can make a copy of or download a copy from Fantasy Flight and write on it all the information. Keep notes.
Oh,
nice.
So what we're going to be doing is normally when you start a campaign, you have to build your deck ahead of time, and then you actually have to spend experience points if you want to change any of your base cards, or they call them level 0 cards. You have to spend 1 XP to switch out one with another. But we cheated just a little bit so we could see what the game was like first and then build our decks. So we're going back and rebuilding our decks from scratch for this campaign, but we're not going to replay the first scenario again because we just would have done that much better, I think. So we kind of handicapped ourselves on purpose. We're too good. So we're going to go back and build those decks. We're also going to include our experience points purchases in this episode so we can see what that kind of looks like. And the cool thing is we maxed out our XP in that first scenario. Yeah. We could not have done any better, which was great. Or terrible, considering that luck always spills the other way too.
Right. Yeah, there's certain monsters, right, that are bigger, and if they happen to come up and you kill them, they're worth victory points, which basically means experience.
Right.
And we got all the monsters, all the locations that had experience on them. So pretty lucky.
So
pretty
many
cool.
points.
Yes. Yeah. There's one thing that we have to decide before we start spending XP on cards, and this is a really cool feature of the game. So besides playing the main campaign missions, which you just progress through one at a time, there are 3 in the core set, three chapters. We just played chapter 1. But they also release, on a semi-regular basis, they release these what are called side quests or side encounters. And they're really awesome side quests that possibly have some really cool cards that you can add to your deck. They can also increase your XP even more. But you do have to choose to do them as a side quest. There are 2 available right now, and the one we were thinking of starting off with, Curse of the Rougarou, is a really cool one that takes place in New Orleans, and it has to do with a cursed possible Wolfman type situation.
Did you say Curse of the what?
Rougarou. I think it's Rougarou. Yeah, I guess it's like a French word for
Nolans talk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Rougarou.
The only stipulation. The only stipulation for side missions is that we have to spend.
Matt just looked at me weird.
We have to spend.
Sorry.
That's okay. We have to spend XP to go on these side missions. So if we want, we could hold off and reserve 1 XP each. It costs us 1 XP each to go on this Curse of the Rougarou side mission, but they're kind of really cool, really fun, and we might get better rewards than if we just do the campaign missions alone.
Or we don't have to. I just feel like Gabe's biasing one side, so I'm going to speak for the other side.
That's true. We don't have to do side missions. You never have to do side missions, but the chance of extra loot plus extra XP going into the second actual chapter mission might be beneficial. You can only do 1 side mission in between each chapter mission, so this would be one of our 2 chances that we'll get to do them.
Or we'll suck and we'll come out with a bunch of physical, mental trauma.
I feel like it's never a good idea to split more than 2 people with the other 2. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not much for taking risks with that level of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Consequence. There you go. That's the word. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you, Brain.
I burned my house down. I have nothing to lose at this point.
Except
right.
your life.
Or more sanity, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, usually, the nice thing is that since this is a shorter campaign, there's only 3 chapters. You won't lose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's only 3
so
chapters.
So that was chapter 1?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
So you won't have a chance of losing too much. You can only at max lose 1. You can only get 1 physical trauma or 1 mental trauma for every scenario. So the chances of us losing enough to like be permanently out of the game are very low for this campaign. But it's kind of interesting to see. I feel like the side missions kind of add a little bit of interesting features and things like that too. But that's what we have to decide as a team if we want to.
Is it worth losing 1 experience each or not? Is really the decision, right?
Right. So we would have 7 XP left to spend on XP cards.
And we wanted to do this now because obviously, as you build your deck, you need to know whether you have 7 or 8 experience.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good time to do it because we did get all of the experience in the last campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like we got extra, and so this is a great place to spend it. But that's just me.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
What do you guys
It sounds like 1 vote for yes.
Yeah, I think spending it's a good idea.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the opportunity to get more later.
Yeah.
Well, you 3 make me cry.
Why? You don't want to spend it all?
Oh, I'm going along with it. But I'll tell you why I'm going to cry about it when I make my deck. It does make me sad on the inside, though.
When you make your deck, you're going to be sad?
Yeah, I'm crying right now. And so
we don't have to spend... I don't know.
No.
It sounds like it might be worth our while to not spend it all.
No, we should. You guys want to check it out. I'm just mostly teasing, but I'll tell you why when I build my deck.
Wait, are we saying we're not going to save any points for cards?
No, it just costs 1 each. So we have 7 for cards rather than 8 if we do the side mission. If we decide to do the side mission.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So you had plans for all 8.
I did. Oh. But that's cool.
But it's okay because we still have future quests after this quest, the side quest, plus the other 2 chapters. You'll have plenty of XP.
Yeah.
And you get to meet a
but we only get to deck build once.
That's true. So basically what we're deciding is, even though all hell's breaking loose in Arkham, we're going to take a trip to New Orleans.
Just go plan for a vacation.
All right. Go see what the
river. Missed that somehow. Okay.
Deb needs some more shoes and jackets.
Yeah. Maybe I need to trade my current shoes for other shoes.
And we're obviously going to have to buy her ticket.
Shoes.
We're going to have to get her ticket.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm just going to stow away on the plane. Is that a thing?
You're tiny.
Butt off.
We'll just make you fit.
All right. Yeah. I'm changing the notes then. We now have 7 experience because we're going to New Orleans next.
All right.
Okay. But we're all going. We're all staying together.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We had.
All right. For some reason, I thought we were talking about
splitting
the next scenario, splitting up, and that's why I was like, we should stay together.
I'll handle the next one myself.
Yeah, Deb, we have to. Oh, okay, just so you know, it's a good idea. Yeah, but it's required. Okay.
That's why it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See, I was right all along.
I wouldn't promote it as much if it was going to be a split adventure for sure.
Yeah. All right.
All righty.
Okay,
so we got that.
All right, so now at this point, we'll kind of get into the deck building, and we set up everybody's card sets so that you basically have your character card up top with the 2 required cards that have to go in your deck. Those don't count as your deck size. So the deck size limit is on the back of the character cards. They give you all the information that you need. So for example, Skids here is deck size 30, and then we'll go into what the deck building options are as far as the class requirements. But the 2 character cards are up here. Then we have a row of the main class cards, and then neutral cards in the middle, and then the subclass on the bottom. And on the right here, we have all of the XP cards that you could buy to boost up your character if you want to spend your 7 on any of those. Should we talk about the main class first, or talk about how the XP work? I guess we could do the main class first, right?
Have you switched
Nikki and
to
I are
the
missing our investigators.
Yeah.
board game view?
We don't.
I did switch it. Sorry.
Do we not have them, or are they this one?
Let me see.
No, they're not that one. They're not the sideways one.
You are right.
Oh yeah, where did those go?
Oh, your view looks very different than mine. You have fancy
Yeah, I'm missing
colored.
some stuff. Everything didn't load in ours.
Hey,
that's really weird. That's strange. I'm trying to think of how I could. While we're talking about the cards, I can.
You want me to start while you find it?
Yeah, I will actually have to load the other scenario, or another scenario, unless I'm trying to think of how we can do that.
Yeah, it's very strange. One of those didn't show up.
So why don't you, Joe? Why don't you talk a little bit about your main class, and I will save it and switch over and grab those 2 cards.
Okay. I won't be able to see my card or anything in front of me. Oh, so all from memory, huh?
Well, just talk a little bit about, I guess, so your main class is Rogue, which the description of that is, these are the green cards, and the main description is, they're self-serving and out for themselves, wily and opportunistic. They are always eager for a way to exploit their current situation.
Yeah, I can start, and don't mind the screen switching, guys. You won't see the cards for a bit while GameFace brings up the missing character cards we need, but I'll just start talking about how I went about it, because I'm excited. This was actually my favorite part of the game, strangely enough. I'm a weird nerd. I like to deck build and theorize things and methods that'll work, so I'm excited to not only talk about how I kind of went about it, but I really like hearing how other people build it. Just get ideas for yourself, and makes you think and see new methods and ways to build and do things.
So, the coins are dancing. What is going on?
I know, it is really weird. I don't know why they do that. There's something about the new tabletop simulator update.
It's flipping around.
Yeah, it makes the bags kind of bounce around. It's kind of crazy.
Okay, so Ronan's lore in chat is amazing. Deb's building her deck towards shoes and coats. Joe is building towards a Twitter account, and Nikki will be building a new house.
Yep,
with her
accurate.
So good.
That's what we're working on.
Okay, so I put you guys' cards here, or I'll put them back up where they belong, where they should have been.
I think mine's still loading. There we go.
Yay!
All right.
I'm upside down, but I will take it.
Yeah, for some reason it kind of.
Okay.
All right, so Joe, so basically what we thought we would do is everybody could describe their main class cards, which there's 10 options. The limit for deck building is, if you look on the back, for main class cards or subclass cards, you can have as many of those as you want, but you can only have 2 copies of each card with that title. So there's actually 20 options, 10 for the main class, 10 for the subclass. We won't talk about the subclass with Joe just yet, since his subclass is my main class. I'll wait and talk about it when we talk about my deck. But we'll talk about the main class and the neutral card options, and then Joe can kind of tell us what he's thinking about as far as his deck choices.
Yeah, I can, and I'll just start real quick. I'm going to start with the main card if you want to focus, the character card, because there was a request to go over the powers as well.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Skids, I think Gabe read the rogue class description. That is his main class. He's a rogue, big surprise. And so looking at his card, you see the stats up top, and he's obviously a bit better at agility and fighting than anything else. Mm-hmm. But his main character power is a fast action, and it's pretty cool. What he can do is during his turn, he can spend 2 resources, and since it's a fast action, it doesn't count as one of his 3 turn actions, but he basically spends those 2 resources, and that allows him to get an additional action. He can only do it once per turn, but it's awesome. It basically, if you can spend it, if you've got money, he gets 4 actions while everyone else gets 3. Mm-hmm. His Elder Sign effect, which if you pull the Elder Sign, is like a critical roll, I guess, the best kind of roll equivalent. You get to basically make the token +2, which usually means you'll succeed. And then also, if you do succeed, he gains 2 resources. So this guy is all about the money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I started. That's kind of my idea for my deck. But as Gabe said, I'm going to talk about all the rogue cards first. And then I'll let you know how I built my deck, which ones I kept, which ones I didn't like.
Did you talk about your stats at the top?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I'm best at agility, which is usually good at evading. And then I'm pretty good at investigating and fighting. My worst is willpower, which we don't really see that used actively. You usually see it as a lot of bad tests and encounter cards. And I have trouble with that. My weakness, which everybody's got one weakness card in their deck, and when it comes up, you have to deal with it. Essentially, it's hospital debts. Essentially, when that pops up, I put it into play in the threat area, and I, as a fast action, can move a resource to it from my resource pool. I can do that twice per round. And essentially, the bad part of it is if I have less than 6 resources on it at the end of the game, I get 2 less experience points.
Wow.
So you got to pay those debts.
And it's your mom's hospital bills, right?
Right, which I guess I got to pay.
Yeah.
Apparently I got to pay those off.
And every character card also has their the class symbol at the top left of their character card, so that's what the rogue symbol looks like the interlinked diamonds. Yeah.
And my one, I don't know what you call it, every character deck also has one really beneficial card. Mine's called On the Lam, which one of the coolest things about it is it's got a lot of skill icons. So if I wanted to play it on a skill test, I basically have an intelligence, agility, and 2 wild cards. So I could really help someone out if I played it with that. But if I play it regular, I pay 1, and as an event, I play it at the beginning of my turn, and essentially until the end of the round, non-elite enemies can't attack you. So if I got a bunch of guys on me, and I want to maybe do things that aren't evading or fighting, I can play that and still attach items and things like that, and they won't get attacks of opportunity. And then at the end, I could still just sit there, and they won't get attack on their turn either. So
that's cool.
Kind of a big cowardly card, but I love it.
It's a one-time use?
Yeah, because it goes away at the end of the round. But basically, for a whole round, nobody can attack me. At least non-elites cannot attack me. So
that's awesome.
Right now. Yeah, I didn't get to use it, so it's pretty good. And those 2, your weakness and your main beneficial card, do not count towards your deck limit of 30.
Right.
So that's Skids. That's his skeleton. That's what he starts with. And then as far as every other card, that does count. Every other card is your choice. So I'm going to go over the rogue cards only because we're going to see them all eventually. We're just going to go over the mains for each character.
Right.
I'm going to do his assets, I guess, which are the things that you attach and usually stay in play permanently unless some card gets rid of them. They're usually items or spells, things like that. He's got a Derringer gun here. It's a gun, has 3 ammo, and essentially every ammo you spend is a fight action where you get +2 might. Is that called might?
Combat.
+2 combat. And if you succeed by 2 or more, it also deals +1 damage.
Cool.
Which is annoying
and
sometimes.
You get nice nail polish.
Exactly.
You get nice nail polish. Yeah, it's a cute little gun, which emasculates Skids a little bit, I think, to use it. Because you'll see.
Depends on where he stores it.
Right. You'll see Roland's deck. Game Faces guy. He's
left
got
hand?
bigger guns.
Dresses up the left hand?
Yeah, he does dress up as left hand.
That's a little mature of a joke.
Like I said, I was in prison. Things happen. We don't talk about.
There you go.
Relationships blossom.
Right. I guess we'll just go down the row. Is that what you want?
Yeah, that'd be easier. Just so we know what we go over.
So I guess I won't do all the assets first. I'll just do them in the row order. Backstab is another card I can pick. It's an event, so sort of a one-time use only. If you pay 3, the attack for this turn that you get to use, the backstab attack, uses your agility instead of combat, which is really good for Skids. His agility is slightly better, and it also does +2 damage.
That's nice.
So since you do a base damage of 1, anything that is a plus is on top of that. So a potential of 3 in one hit.
And it doesn't require a weapon, which is cool.
Right. Yeah, you just stab him in the back.
How does that work?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's a good question.
Just back hitting,
Yeah.
He's got a shiv.
Yeah.
It's undetectable by virtually any security.
Yeah.
Secretly Wolverine.
Yeah, there you go.
Got some shivs from prison.
Adamantium. How do we?
Oh, go ahead.
On the character cards, it says you can use rogue cards level 0 to 2 or survivor cards 0 to 5. How do we know what level they are?
So all of your
Is that
base
based
cards.
on the cost?
So just below the cost, the cost of the card, you see how there's little black dots or grayish dots, those little pips on the base.
Yeah.
So all of your base cards are 0 because none of the pips are white. But if you look over at the XP cards, which are on the right, they either have 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 pips, and that's how many XP they cost to buy a copy to put in your card. So if they have no pips, so no pips mean it's level 0 cards. So you can have any level 0 cards you want in your deck from either your main class or subclass, but you're restricted on your subclass up to level 2 cards in your deck.
Right.
Okay.
Which are 2 pips.
Makes sense.
You're not going to get to pick the big, nice cards of your subclass.
Yeah.
Very likely.
And we already removed those, so you should see all of the options that are possible for your character. We removed the big ones for your subclass, yeah.
Okay.
But if you're curious about what were the ones of my subclass that I don't get to use, somebody will be doing them. My subclass is Guardian. I don't get to see the top Guardian cards, but when Gabe goes, that's his main, so you'll see him there.
Yeah.
It looks like my main class all are cheap.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes they work, but that's nice. That's more experience for maybe other things.
So we each get to spend the 7 however we want?
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Wow, that's cool.
So I think I was on Opportunist.
Yeah.
Was I? Oh, Opportunist is another skill card and you remember the skill cards are ones you can play on yours or other people's skill tests to boost them. You can play them on other people if they're in the same location. But essentially it's a wild, so that's really nice. Any wilds are basically you can make them into anything. But the thing about Opportunist is you can only play it on a skill that you're performing, and it's just 1. However, if you succeed by 3 or more, you get to return it to your hand. So you can recycle it if you're pretty confident.
Right.
You're gonna pickpocketing is the next one of the next rogues cards. It's an asset, so it stays out permanently. It's kind of like a permanent talent you have. After you evade an enemy, you get to draw a card. So you're kind of like
cool.
picking his pocket. Yeah.
And I didn't realize either that that's an asset card. So you play that and you can just it's that little circular arrow means you do that as a reaction every time you evade from then on. You get
that's cool.
Yeah. So, and which is really good because there's not a lot of card draws in this game. And that's one of the few ways to cycle cards. Sneak attack is the next one, and it's kind of like backstab. The rogue has a lot of these different methods of attacking. This one is an event, so it's a kind of a one-time thing. It's not an asset that stays out. But if you pay for the card, you basically get to deal 2 free damage to an exhausted enemy.
Cool.
So if you evade someone, then you can kind of put a hurt on them for free. Switchblade is the next card. It's an asset. It only costs 1 and it's fast. So it's cheap and you bring it out for free without it costing an action. But really, that's about it. If you use it in a fight, it doesn't provide any bonuses to combat. But if you do succeed by 2 or more, it does a +1 damage thing. So kind of neat. Burglary is the next one. It's an asset. A lot like pickpocketing, it stays out permanently. And what it does is the investigate action, which you guys might remember in prior shows, is how we get clues. You investigate a location, and if you succeed, you get a clue. This lets you do an investigate action, but instead of getting a clue, you get 3 resources.
Cool.
So those bad rogues, they burgle. Instead of getting clues, they steal stuff. Elusive is the next rogue. It's a one-time event. Basically, you play it as a fast action, so again, it doesn't count as an action. It lets you then disengage from every enemy engaged with you and move to a revealed location that has no enemies. So it lets them kind of move around, jump around. Hard Knocks is the next rogue card. It's a talent asset, so it stays out permanently. And if you bring it out, you can essentially pay a resource to get +1 combat or pay a resource to get +1 agility. So it'll help you on skill tests.
And unfortunately, we did look this rule up. You can't do it multiple times per test. So unfortunately, you can only boost by 1.
Oh, that
kind of
no! I thought we looked it up that you could. I thought I looked up that you could.
Oh, okay. I can't remember. We kept
pretty
going
sure
back
you
and
can.
forth. Okay.
Which makes sense because it's resource limited. You're not going to be able to do it
Right.
probably, but I think you can pay multiple because they're fast actions too, so they don't count every time you pay.
Gotcha.
All right, what do you think this guy is drinking in this picture? Is it vodka?
That's a good question.
Oof.
Hard to tell.
It's something rough. It's something rough. He's a tough guy.
It almost looks like it says Uzo, but that seems weird.
I don't know. It's rough stuff though.
Yep.
And then finally, Leo DeLuca is the only ally asset in the rogue deck so far, and he's awesome. He costs a lot, but if you bring him out, he's an ally.
6, yeah,
and
that's like one of the. That's probably the most expensive.
That's the one I
card.
had.
Yeah, he is.
He's my boy.
But if you get him out, you get an additional action. So for Skids, if he can get Leo out plus pay his 2, that puts him at 4 possible actions or 5 possible
5,
actions
man.
in one turn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Plus, it's only 1 point to get one that costs 1 resource less,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is what I did for my deck.
Nice.
So that's kind of Skids and the rogue as his main class. Did anybody have any questions just about what he's about or?
So yeah, he seems pretty cool. Are you gonna also talk really quickly, since you're the first guinea pig, about the neutral card options? Everybody has these options.
I can, yeah. Every character has the same neutral card options right now.
For level 0, yeah. And,
Right.
And actually the XP ones too. So.
And every character can pick any number of experience cards for their main class. So for me, that's rogue, and also any number of experience cards in neutral. So there's going to be some issues about what to pick. But real quick, the neutral cards, and this will be the same for everyone. So once I go over them, everybody will know what they're dealing with. I think the easiest place, well, yeah, I can start. There's one weapon that's in the neutral category. It's a knife. It costs 1. It's cheap. And every attack you do with it gets a +1 combat, but you also have the option that if you discard it as a one-time use thing, you get +2 combat and +1 damage, like you're throwing it, and it does a bit more.
And it's clearly, you can tell by the picture, an effective weapon for defense. Clearly keeps you from being wounded in the gut, say.
Right.
Very
helps
effective.
you out.
Yeah.
We got a last resort. That's what it is.
Yeah.
This is a great one to pair with first aid.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the ugly card too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm going to skip to emergency cash because I think I can talk about all the skill cards in one shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Emergency cash is the next neutral card. I think everybody loves this. I love it.
Yeah,
It's an event. Just a one-time thing. You pay nothing and you just get 3 free resources.
the only thing that sucks is there's no skill icons, but it's a little
It's
cost.
true. Of course, if you ever use it on a skill test, I'll cry on the
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
as the guy who loves money the most in this game, Skids. The next neutral is a flashlight. It is an equipment. It's an asset. So you equip it, and it has 3 supplies. And what you use those supplies for is every one you spend on an investigate action, you can make the location -2 shroud. If people remember, the locations have shroud values that you have to beat in order to successfully investigate and get a clue. So it helps with that investigating.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the neutral cards are pretty easy. Every stat in this game, which is willpower, as we called heads, it's got the head symbol. In intellect, which we called books, the book symbol. Combat, which sometimes we accidentally call what? Fist.
Yeah.
The fist symbol. And then my favorite, agility, which we called flying shoes. That's what
Yeah.
yeah. Those are the 4 traits, the 4 skills in this game. All your tests will be based on one of those, and the rest of the cards in neutral
And they just
are
they boost those help those skill checks, and they usually give you some
Right.
kind of benefit like draw a card.
Right.
Or
Yeah,
in the case
you
of
play it.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking of a different card.
You essentially play whichever one. There's obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 for each skill, and then a wild one.
Unexpected courage.
Unexpected courage, and you can play it on yours or someone else, but it gives you 2 bonus to whatever the skill that you played.
Cool.
And for all of them except unexpected courage, if the skill test is successful, it then lets you draw a card too.
Cool.
But unexpected courage doesn't give you that, probably because wild cards are so good. They feel like
that's enough of a
card draw
strength.
too. So those are the neutrals. Anybody have questions about the neutral tree category? Same ones for everyone.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's Skids' main rogue and the neutral. Did you just want me to go into my deck, or?
If you want, we could talk about that really quick.
Okay, I'll try and keep mine. And chat, let us know if you had any questions about Skids or the rogue class. I'll probably move mine fairly fast because I did make my deck ahead of time just to kind of let Nikki and Deb, who are newer players, have more time. But this is my favorite part. I mean, how do you go about this? How do you look at these cards and say, where am I going to start? What am I going to pick with? Some people just say, I'm going to start with assets. I'm going to figure out all the different weapons I want first and then go. It's really interesting to see what methods people adopt to build. So I'll just talk about mine, right or wrong, make fun of it. Let me know, comments, questions. But I essentially looked at Skids, and the first thing I really noticed was his heroic ability, or his ability, that one where you pay 2 resources and you get additional action. I looked at that, and that's where everything started. I kind of thought to myself, that's really good. I think the most precious resource in this game are actions. Every investigator only gets 3. And if you can somehow get more, it can really turn the tide of a game. You know, 1 more investigate, 1 more clue token can make a difference. You know, a card draw, extra money, any of those things you can do on an action, the more you have, the more you're going to help your team. So I thought to myself, I don't ever want to waste that. If you get 1 per round, I'm going to consider it a failure if there's even 1 round that I don't get to use that. So how do I do that? It's all about money. I need at least a guaranteed 2 resources every time just to spend on that, much less all my other stuff. So I started looking and saying, I need all the money cards I can get.
Right.
So that made it really easy. Emergency cash. And remember, guys, you can have up to 2 copies of any card by the same title. No more. But it's hard to decide that sometimes. You look at a card and say, is this good enough to have 2 or 1? That's another kind of conflict you have deck building. But emergency cash gives me money. That's an automatic 2 that went into my deck. Free money. My guy needs it. And I'm just going to be looking at my deck on the left here and eliminating those 2.
So you had 2 copies.
If we spend the points, are they additional to the 30?
No, you actually have to
included?
replace.
We have to swap out?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to swap out.
All right.
If
So
you
that's
buy
the
an
tough-
experience card.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about gaining experience is you have to figure out also what's a good buy that can also replace something if it's not
Yeah.
upgrading something. Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's 2 of my 30. And so it's all about money right now. What gives us money? None of the rest of my rogue cards are about really giving me money directly anyway. We'll talk about a couple others. However, one thing I haven't touched on that we haven't looked at yet are my experience upgrade cards. So far, we've just looked at the rogue's base and the neutral base. But now that we've completed a quest, as we've talked about earlier, I have 7 experience points to spend. And I saw a card that just made me feel things all over my body that I wanted. And this is also why...
I know exactly what card it is.
Oh, yeah. This is also why I wanted to cry when I didn't have my full 8. So I'm looking at Hot Streak. Hot Streak is one of my experience cards. As you can see, it's going to cost me 4.
Yeah, it's a level 4 card.
It's a level 4, so just to put 1 in my deck, I have to spend 4 experience. But it's really that good. You pay 3, and you gain 10 resources.
That's bomb.
It's huge, but I saw that immediately and said both of those are going to my deck right now.
Mhm.
But thanks to 3 other investigators we won't name, I can't do that right now. So only one goes in, but the hot streak is definitely in there for 1, and I've used 4 of my 7, so that went in, and I'm going to get the other one eventually because that card's too good.
Can you save your experience, or do you have to
Yes.
spend it all in one sitting?
No, you can totally save it. Yeah.
Okay.
I like your own, and he says blame the Fed. It was Roland's fault.
Yeah.
But,
They're always
Aw.
taking you. The government's always
Funfully.
taking your XP.
Fun police is right. Oh, that's funny.
he doesn't like me going on hot streaks. Too many. There
I
was
ended up in the clink last time.
yeah. There was one other money related card, not directly, but burglary is another way. That's the one where I can investigate, and rather than get clues, I can gain 3 resources.
Right.
My problem with burglary, though, I would say it's an automatic both copies go in, is once I have it out, what does the other card do? It's useless. But then you debate, well, do I still put 2 in just to make sure I have the most probability of getting that card out? So I had a little bit of a problem deciding whether I wanted just 1 or 2 of burglary. I kind of thought I wanted just 1. But then when I realized I was going to be denied my second hot streak, I went ahead and put 2 burglaries in. But when I get hot streak in the future, I'll probably replace that second burglary.
I like how you're picking the cute lady cards.
Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't hurt. That doesn't.
Yeah.
But there's others. There's I pick some ugly people too.
Like first aid.
Yeah.
For first aid, yes, that's an ugly one. But that's all the money related ones. So I have to maximize my money, and that's kind of where I started. After that, I didn't really have a method other than I figured the next thing for Skids was probably fighting. I know Roland's great at it. Nikki, sorry to say, it's not your forte.
No, not at all.
And
Sorry.
Deb fights, but she fights a little wily. She's not a direct
fight sneaky.
combat. She fights sneaky, so I
Yeah.
figured
Shoes.
Fight with shoes.
with
Yeah.
shoes,
My
she kind of,
infinite resource.
she kind of evades a bit more and then attacks when the time is right. But as far as direct fighting,
How I play video games. Run
That's
away
right.
and throw stuff from afar. That's the easiest way to not get damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play
so
scared.
I started thinking I need to help fight a bit. That's going to be my kind of second thing besides just having a lot of actions. So real easy, I put 2 Derringers in there. They cost 3, but I like that they give the +2 combat. And even though they're limited, I still liked them quite a bit. The damage, I didn't concern myself as much. I figured I just needed to hit. Roland's a bit better about not only hitting, but doing extra damage. I figured my role was I just need to make sure and hit because I'm not quite as strong as the. So I put 2 Derringers in there just to kind of help out my combat. Where I get those? I'm just making sure I'm caught up and I don't misspeak on my deck. I also went ahead and my subclass, I don't think I covered this, was Guardian, which is Roland's main class. So I have all of his same base cards to pick from, and he'll go over what those are.
Right.
But I don't have the same potential experience cards to pick from. But I went ahead and picked the 45 automatic as another card, and I picked 2 of them. It's another gun, basically 4 ammo. It lets you do +1 combat and +1 damage.
Right.
So I figured I'd just load myself down with guns. I kind of said forget melee weapons. I'm just going to use and drop guns a lot. That may cost me. We'll see. What else? The Switchblade, which is the rogue's kind of only melee weapon, is terrible. I mean, if you guys can think of a good use for that, let me know. But I don't know. It's fun. You get it out fast. But after that, it provides no combat bonus, and the only damage bonus, you have to get lucky and win by more than 2. That just seemed crappy, so that was a no-go for me. The next combat-related things I picked were all of the rogues' kind of indirect combat. I picked the backstab we talked about, where I get to use agility instead of combat. I put 2 of those in because the damage it does is really high. That'll be good for a boss, I think. And I also picked the sneak attack, which is really cool. 2 free damage to an exhausted enemy. I put 2 of those in. So all I got to do is evade someone, and that's free damage. So we had 2 of those. I did not pick the machete, which was a melee weapon of the Guardian. I think Game Face really made fun of me for not putting this in here. Gave me a lot of grief.
That's all right.
But I feel like there was some sort of special dynamic with Roland being kind of the only machete guy. I think that's his. I think that's his thing.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to take that from him. He's the machete guy. I'll let him have it. I'm not putting those in there. But I did put 2 knives, which is a neutral. I figure if my guns run out or I don't have my guns, as a last resort, I have the knives, and I can throw and get rid of those 2. And then finally, the last combat related, I think, kind of card that I picked was Hard Knocks. I did put 2 of those in there, only because even though I realized once you get one out, the second one's kind of useless, because you only need 1 card to pay as much as you want. I really needed a high probability of getting those out, because I'm hopefully going to have a lot of extra money. So having 2 of those to make sure they're out and I could spend money to boost stuff was a good idea.
I like how you picked up a bunch of weapons and then alcohol.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a great combination.
That's how Skids do. That's what we do.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, and cute girls too.
Yeah. Oh,
Now, come on.
Skids is a party.
I've been in prison. Remember?
Yeah.
I also forgot to mention, I did put 2 Leo DeLucas, and Deb and I need to have a conversation about this. It's going to be rough. Leo's
Can only
my
one
ally.
of us have him?
Yes.
So-
No! He's my core!
So if you look at the card, up next to the name, there's a little star, and that means he's a unique character, or there might be some unique items later, but unique cards, only one person can have them at a time in play. But it's possible that if one goes out of play, another one can come into play for someone else too.
Right.
Oh,
He's
so
the
you can have
only
it in your
ally
deck.
in my deck.
I know but I figure, because my guy's really huge on getting extra actions. I needed
So was
it.
mine. That was like my whole build
If
last game.
If you get it out though, that's fine, as long as one of us is getting extra actions.
Yeah.
It's a bonus.
As long as he's benefiting someone, yeah.
Right. And somehow if I have him out, I figure you can let me know if you're desperate, and I could probably live without him. But I figured for both of us to have equal chance for him to come up was a really good thing. So
because we can have 2 of them in our deck, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to spend 2 points on getting the cheap ones.
Yeah, you and if you get him out before me, that's great. You're getting the extra action. That's beneficial for all. If I get him out, I'll use him. But if you ever need me to do something else with him, he's got some tankiness or some shield to him. I figure I can kill him off in a combat or something.
Okay, because I was specifically avoiding every other ally because I only like him.
I
and
know.
he
I
does.
know. Do you see how this gets rough? This deck building gets really tricky and rough sometimes.
Yeah.
I think, and it won't be just us. I think Gabe and Nikki have a potential one that they're going to be fighting.
What?
Not really. Not really.
Oh, well, we'll see. But I did put 2 Leos in there just because I actually thought about just putting 1, because once you have him out, what's the other card do? But he's so good.
I thought about that too, but I want to make sure. Plus, I have an extra 1 point. I was like, well, I'll just buy another one of them.
Yeah. So we'll work it out. I promise, Deb. We'll get it. It won't be.
What
too
happens when we get other points later, and let's say we want to trade out one of the ones we already bought with points? Do we get to use the experience? Do we either like pay it back, sort of thing, or no?
That's a good question.
If you trade out, I think we looked up. If you want to trade out a 0 card for a 0 card, it costs 1.
Right, but she's talking
No,
about
I mean, like if I want to trade out a pip for another one. Like next time we get experience, let's say I want to trade out my buffed DeLuca for something else. If I find out that like, oh, we only really need one person that has DeLuca.
I think it depends on the
back.
card you're trading it for. If it's one that has pips, you just got to pay the pips of the new one and replace it. If it's a level 0,
Oh, you don't get points back for the ones that you already paid for.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
Okay.
I don't think you do. But you haven't made your
It's
deck
worth
yet.
money. No,
Right.
I actually don't like any of the other cards I'm able to buy.
Yeah.
So basically, like, once I'm done, I'm done. It's weird. I don't know.
Well, we'll work it out. We'll work it out.
Hmm.
I'm sure we'll get it because the chance that it's a big conflict for both of us that it comes at the same time, hopefully, is low.
Yes, I don't like the other
We'll see.
chick I have.
But I have two of him. I think to finish out just the rogue ones, because I have that mostly worked, I did not take Opportunist. While it's nice that it gives you one wild card skill, I hate that that's it. To succeed by 3 or more and have it returned to your hand is hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually pretty rough. And as you can see, the deck's filling up and you really got to start putting things in. It seems like as you're making it, everything sounds, oh, that's neat. And then when you realize it's so easy to have more than 30, you start saying, okay, now we got to get down to the real essentials. And that's just not one that I thought was.
Yeah.
Pickpocketing, I also didn't take. Well, it's neat that you can evade and get a free card. For me, I'm usually, any other card game, I am huge about cycling your deck and drawing cards. I love decks that do that. This game is a bit different. The deck size is only 30. That's not a lot. And
Unless you have an amulet.
Right.
Yeah.
one thing to remember too is if you cycle too fast, you are guaranteed to have your weaknesses come up. And so I was like, I'm not that excited about drawing cards.
Yeah.
So I left him out. And then finally, I did put 2 elusives in there. Elusive is just awesome. The more I had to research, I actually had to look up stuff about it. It's a fast action, so it costs nothing. And it lets you disengage from enemies, which is not evading. So they're still untapped. And if there's another investigator there, I'm basically throwing monsters on that person. So sorry for
I
future
can see why
stuff.
you like that.
But to move to any revealed location, you guys are going to see that their locations are really going to spread out. So to jump around anywhere is pretty huge. So I put 2 of those in.
That's cool.
I can go through the Guardians real quick. I did not pick any of the allies simply because of Leo. I thought if Leo was out, I was never going to replace him. Plus, I'm not as concerned about doing heavy damage. I do want to hit people, but the Beat Cop and the Guard Dog kind of are more about doing extra damage. I did not take physical training. It's kind of the equivalent of Hard Knocks, except it's got different ones, but the 2 in Hard Knocks are the best. I did take 2 Vicious Blows, which is a skill combat that lets you add 1 combat, and then if it's successful during attack, you get to do an extra damage, whether it's yours or someone else's. So that's pretty awesome. I did take those. I didn't take dodge. I figure my evade was pretty good, and Roland's probably the likely only other person who's going to be fighting a lot, and I kind of could care less whether he dodges an attack or not. I did take 1 Dynamite Blast. That's the card that you guys didn't let me use.
Flip the table over.
Yeah.
We're all getting wrecked today.
It's dangerous, but you can throw it at your location or a connecting one, and everybody there, enemies and investigators, all take 3 damage. It's kind of rough, but I promise I'll only hurt Roland with it, if anybody. I did not take evidence. That helps you investigate. That really wasn't something I was going for. However, I did take 2 first aids. I figured that was pretty important because it's one of the few ones that heals both a horror and a damage. And I kind of also figured, weirdly enough, I think Skids might be the support of this group, strangely enough. With his extra actions, it might be harder for other people to give up one of their precious 3 actions to heal someone else. But because Skids has extra actions, he might be the guy most likely to be available to give those heals out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I kind of put that. That leaves the neutrals. I didn't take too many because I was pretty full, but Unexpected Courage is too good. I had to have 2 of those. And then I took 1 each of my mains, which is combat and agility. So I took 1 manual dexterity, 1 overpower, and then that was it. I didn't take the flashlight because I don't investigate much. And that's Skids. I'm kind of have a lot of guns, trying to do as many actions as I can with a lot of money, fighting kind of guy. That's how I'd sum up
Cool.
what he was. Any questions?
So
Make
you-
fun of it? Concerns? Problems?
So you bought for your XP purchases, you bought Hot Streak, and that's it, right? So you've still got 3 points left.
That's true. That's
Okay.
true. I did not
Okay.
buy. I was thinking about extra ammunition, which you'll talk about on yours,
Yeah.
which does basically refill a firearm asset. But I figure I've got so many guns, I'll just drop one and use the next one.
Yeah.
The only other card I'd talk about, as far as the rogues experience cards we didn't go over, Sure Gamble is pretty neat. It's a fast action. It's an event. Basically, what it happens is if you reveal a chaos token with a negative number, you switch the negative to a positive. It's kind of like cheating at cards. It's pretty neat,
Oh, nice.
but costing 3 compared to Hot Streak, to me, it wasn't close. There is an upgraded, not all the experience cards are new. Some of them are upgrades of older cards. There is an upgraded Leo DeLuca. So for 1 experience, you can put the upgraded ally of Leo, and he only costs 5 rather than
That's what I have too.
Yeah. Deb got those.
He's good. And then finally, Cat Burglar is a new one. It's another ally that gives you +1 permanent agility while he's out. And as an action, you can exhaust him. He lets you disengage from every enemy on you and move to a connecting location, and they don't even get an attack of opportunity to do it.
That's cool.
So makes you kind of wily. It's neat. I really debated it, but Hot Streak again was just too good. I'm saving for that first.
Yeah.
The only 2 upgraded neutral cards are a Bulletproof Vest and Elder Sign, and they both kind of do the same thing but opposite. Bulletproof Vest gives you 4 additional hit points as a kind of a coat you wear, which Deb should like. And,
Listen, Joe, I have to explain my deck too.
Yeah.
and then
Taking
Elder
an hour
Sign.
and explaining my whole deck too. Jeez.
Yeah.
But you don't have to talk about the rogue cards. I've covered those for, or the neutrals.
Yeah, but I didn't pick any of the
Oh no!
Survivor cards.
Elder Sign gives you 4 sanity if you wear it as a necklace.
Nice.
But that's it. I promise. I'm done. I'm done being long-winded.
I think you should show off your action figure because I just saw that we have little minis.
I
And
think
they're really cool.
Game Face will have to focus on it
Yeah.
for me.
They look so hilarious.
I love
Goodness.
it. They're so cheesy.
Yeah. They're really hilarious.
Mine is interesting.
I think they're like really terribly painted.
That scarf.
And
Yeah, they are.
unfortunately,
Yeah, you look like an angry woman. Like you have like crazy eyebrows.
Oh my
Daisy
God,
kind of
look at
looks like
your
a
picture pose.
transvestite.
I know. I don't know what's going on with Daisy.
Yeah.
You look like you're in a sorority and you're all taking a picture together.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
hands on. It just needs hands on the knees. Guys, hello.
Yeah.
Cheese.
You've got really like muscular legs though.
Yeah, man. It's from running around the library,
It's from wearing heels all
carrying
day.
books.
I will say too, real quick, if anybody thinks of questions later and watches VODs, leave comments because I check those and I think a few people have seen. I'm fairly good at replying.
Yeah.
So that's Skids. That's kind of what he's going to try and do. For
You guys have the same face
Who's
Who?
that?
on your characters.
Oh, you're right.
It's the same face.
You take that back. I do
No,
not look
you guys
like-
are long lost brothers.
We both have
No.
we both have long heads. That's the problem.
You're a long head.
We've got like a
Oh.
13-inch head.
It's like a
lengthwise.
tall neck in
Yeah.
or the plate heads in Horizon.
Yeah.
That's the most insulting thing I've ever heard.
Oh, Twitch chat wants to tweet their questions to you, Joe.
Son of a. I only receive things by carrier pigeon.
Or ravens.
Ravens.
Dark-
I'm old school.
Dark wings, dark words.
Oh my gosh.
I'm old
Well,
school.
I think we're up for a break now, and then we can definitely come back and start with somebody new on their deck. I'm excited to see what everybody else has for ideas.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see
Cool.
you guys back here in just a little bit.
See ya.